Hello everyone and welcome back to AUSF1 as we come back from our week break and heading into Spa-Francorchamps with a sprint weekend. Also joining me is a returning but legendary commentator, Jamin. So of course, welcome in. How are you feeling today?
G'day, Mike. It's great to be back, and thank you for the wonderful intro as well. I'm very flattered by that, and excited to get stuck into what should be a very interesting race here. As you said, we've got a sprint. So we're starting with the sprint qualifying this evening and a full grid as well.
Yes.
So very pumped to be back in the commentary box.
Yes, we are very pumped, of course. Welcome back from your 6-week break, obviously. As we look into the drivers coming back into our out lap, of course, we're going to have to turn on the track map over here. So as the drivers are warming up the tires, what do you think of Spa-Francorchamps, this legendary track at all? What do you think about it as a driver, but also as a commentator?
It's a wonderful track to drive. So I'm a bit jealous of the guys that are out there on the track. They'll thoroughly enjoy it. It's great for racing, and yeah, it's just such a unique track. One of the rare, long-standing tracks that we still have in F1. So it's always good fun, and as a commentator, it's always a joy to watch. Probably more so on the game than in real life at the moment, but yeah, still lots of fun, and it should provide for some great action as well.
Yeah, of course, as we've seen from Tier 1, there has been some battles going on, especially in Sector 1. So what do you think about Sector 1's DRS overtakes over there, making it through the next turns? Do you think there's going to be some wheel-to-wheel action on a track like this, or...?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously there's going to be a lot of low downforce setups. A few drivers going with probably as low wings as you can possibly get on this track, just because of those long straights, particularly the Kemmel Straight, which is where we'll see most of the overtaking. And generally, the overtaking is done pretty easily, but there is plenty of opportunity to fight back as well. You've got the speed, straight line speed to do so. So yeah, should be plenty of good action in front of us.
Yes, and of course we are looking into Boza right now, the first person on track to set up a first timed lap as he's going through at the end of the full straight. We're gonna have to look into the onboard. Now, of course, for this track, setups are going to be definitely a variety. You can either sacrifice the straight speeds for turns like in 2 and 3, or sacrifice the low speeds for Sector 1. So we're interested to see what the drivers are planning to sacrifice, because this track definitely has its unique quirks. So if they can balance it out, it's definitely a huge advantage. So everyone's gonna go with the mediums, which is the difference of speed and durability. There's a caution at Sector 3. Not sure what has happened, but I think that's the bus stop given the position. As we look into one person, I think that's the Alpine. Are they gonna give out space? Yep. As we finish up the lap time for Boza, what time are they gonna set up? A 1:43.2, not a bad one, but not the best. We're gonna have to look into the other drivers, obviously. So, who is...
warm-up lap there from Boza. And yeah, lots of drivers now starting to go out as well, most of them opting for the medium tyres. And I'm just watching T. Salmons at the moment, who's absolutely flying down the main straight. He's elected to go for the soft tyres. And as you mentioned with the setups, it's going to be interesting to see how a lot of people go. I think the drivers that are expecting to qualify closer to the front might go for a bit more downforce, because that generally helps with the qualifying pace. But if you're a midfield driver, or someone who's trying to work their way through the field, you'll definitely want that straight line speed, because if you don't have it, it's going to be a very tough time for you to try and get up the field from there, as T. Salmon's doing a pretty good job at the moment. And I expect this lap time to be pretty good compared to what we've seen so far. Toddy has the the fastest lap by about a second and a bit, and absolutely dominating in that Williams car at the moment. And he's still looking pretty neat and tidy as we get to the final sector of the track. As you can see, Spa, the updated backdrop. You can really see the difference from previous F1 games. Now it's very, very realistic.
Yes.
So now to the bus stop. See what kind of lap time he can set up, and it's 1:43.3, so respectable P6 puts him pretty much right smack bang in the middle.
Yeah, that's not bad of a lap from T. Salmons, but despite having a tire advantage with the softs, he still wasn't able to get ahead of the likes of Toddy, Hendo, and Simo, who are the top 3 biggest contenders of the entire T2 league. From as we've seen from China, Toddy, Hendo, Simo, and Zilla all fighting for P1, but with Hendo's puncture and Toddy accidentally pushing, I believe it was Zilla, and Toddy getting the provisional win, it's of course on a place like Spa, there's definitely going to be some rivalry going on, and if not, some wheel-to-wheel. But we're gonna have to see what happens in qualifying, especially on a track like Spa.
Yeah, well, that top 3 is the top 3 in the championship at the moment, and with the sprint race as well, it's a very important weekend to definitely go right. Obviously with the sprint format, 2 quali sessions, so it's not all over after just the qualifying, 1 qualifying session. To cover the main race, so nothing. There's plenty of time to pick up points, is what I'm trying to say.
Haydu is on the bus stop right now. The Mercedes, oh, big power slide, and he has to give up that lap. That's really unfortunate for Haydu. Not really a great Mercedes stint for the driver, not being able to match up to Hendo. That's really unfortunate for him. It's not really a good lap time to see, as both Mercedes are onto the pits. One who has set up a lap time close to Toddy, and one who hasn't been able to do well at the bus stop. Yeah, so the bus stop is really interesting. I mean, you could get a big power slide if you enter too late, I believe, and getting on the throttle a little bit too early. So just got to be careful.
And turn 1 as well. The corners are quite tricky for a lot of the drivers, and that's where you do really make or break your lap times. I don't know if it's just me not being as good at driving as some of the others that are in this grid, but I do find those areas of the track quite tricky, as Daniel Starr now is flying through the middle sector and just trying to get the car stopped there, keeps it nice and tight to the inside curb, trying to give himself as wide a berth as possible there. And now just flicks the car in, can almost go full throttle through there, and he does. And got a car just in front, so hopefully...
Oh, this hoping no dirty air happening to him.
Yeah, it could be giving him a slight effect there. As you can see, sliding a little bit wider. You do not want to touch the gravel out here, and he avoids it. And now he can just step on the power all the way to the final chicane. And it's looked pretty decent for the Ferrari driver so far, as now he comes up flying to this final corner. All the hard work you've done over the first minute and a half comes down to this corner. You want to make sure to get the lap done nicely. And he's done good enough there for P8, 43.3. So pretty tidy from Daniel Starr. That's
a really great one from Danny. But P8 is not really the best you can go, obviously. Being in the mid-pack, especially on a place like Spa, there's going to be a really chaotic turn 1. So you just got to be careful. Nat Hammer retires from the session. I believe that's because they just finished their lap. They can't improve in any way. So it's really unfortunate for Nat, usually. But If we look into the previous races, Hammer have done a solid job getting up ahead by most people, so I'm excited to see how he does it again here on a place like Spa.
Yeah, it's going to be, as I said, a big race. Lots of points on the table. So all it takes is a couple surprise good races from some drivers that are in that midfield, and they can all of a sudden really thrust themselves into that championship battle. But you can see now all the drivers lining up for their final runs of sprint qualifying. And I think we might have a look at Simo, who's just about to kick off this lap. Who do you think is a good shot for pole here? Mikey, Todd is up about a 10th at the moment, and the top two are looking quite a bit ahead of everyone else at this stage.
From the looks of, from what I've seen from previous races, I think Toddy, Hendo, Simo, and of course are all the ones that can get a shot at pole. But if I had to go with a wild card, I think I would say Boza. Although he doesn't have the best qualifying, he does sure have a very good consistent pace from China to, I believe, the Britain races to the other previous. So yeah, but I'm keen to know otherwise because I'm always proved wrong. So let's see how it goes. But I think Toddy definitely has the best shot as Satsi finishes off their lap, I believe. Yep, the first person to finish.
Yeah, no higher than P4 for Satsi, so he's going to have to sit and wait for the next bit as Simo is up a 10th through the first sector. He's going to need a little bit more than that to catch up to Hendo and Toddy in that Aston Martin. He comes flying around the bend now, and this is where the most time can be gained or lost if he can really push this to the limit. You can see taking a bit of grass on the inside there. You kind of have to if you want to hit that apex, and not quite full throttle through there for Simo, as a few other drivers finishing. Botanical Bot goes P6.
Void makes
Daniel
it to
Starr
P7,
P10.
of course. Hold on.
Yep, and that's Maniac, who's 2 thousandths off Toddy.
Oh,
and he's
God.
gone P2. That's a major shot at the field. Simo not improving though. He's 2/10 down. Toddy is on a massive improvement, and so is Hendo. So we'll have a look at Hendo, who's coming up. He's got a slipstream as well, but it could get in the way here from the Sauber in front, and there's a little bit of a slide there out of the final corner. Hendo does not go fastest. And J Cash Mash goes P3.
J Cash, a surprising P3. Look at that. That's a really good qualifying for the Haas driver. But of course, we're going to have to look at Verks. I think he's the only one on track after Haydu, as Haydu's going to set a lap time of 43.4. But what about Verks? Verks doesn't improve and gets up to P8. So of course, this is the end of sprint qualifying. Some really interesting things that's happened. Maniac and Toddy being really, really close. Look at that. Oh, well, but
yeah, Toddy did improve at the end there by 3/10 at the last moment, so he's able to get away from him a bit.
That's of course. But here's your sprint qualifying results. Toddy getting the P1 of 3/10 of Maniac, but of course from top 10 is Cashmash, Hendo, Zilla, Simo, Satsi, Verks, Scotty, and Bevo. And the rest are below the top 10s. Ira Logan is the only person who has not set a lap time, but I think that's because he has a qualifying ban, but I'm going to have to check on that, of course.
Yep. Yeah, so a bit of a disappointing end there for Simo and Hendo. Weren't able to improve too much, and they've slid down the order as a result, so that's going to impact that championship fight with Toddy, who's all of a sudden he's got a bit of room to breathe behind him now.
Of course. As we wait for the drivers to get ready for the sprint race, who do you think is going to win the sprint qualifying, the sprint race, Jamin?
Well, I think based on that performance from Toddy so far, his first lap would have been quick enough for pole position. He didn't even need to set his second one in the end, but that just shows his dominance. So if I were to put my money anywhere, it would be on Toddy, but that was a great lap by Maniac at the end, who's come out of nowhere really to put his car on the front row. So I'm interested to see how they go in this sprint race, if they can secure a nice sprint podium for themselves here.
Of course, but we're gonna have to see because Spa is one of those tracks where it's gonna be very unpredictable. So just have to wait and see, especially on the race, as it's gonna be going 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go. Looks like a good lunge from Hendo as he tries to go side to side with Maniac. Very good lunge. Oh god, that's a really close one as Maniac gets a huge hit to the Haas driver. Something has happened from the back. That's a really big incident from Maniac and Cashmash as they both drop down hugely up to P5 and P6 respectfully, as Toddy still makes it down the lead even after Maniac tries to get that, because that's a really big mistake as Zilla tries to go side to side with him, but no, he isn't able to get side to side with Toddy, and he still has the lead of the race. But that was a really close call from Toddy. I'm not going to be surprised if there's going to be some kinds of damage as Hendo thinks about going the move of Simo but doesn't go fully for it. But that was really close.
Yeah, and Toddy, that's probably the best possible start he could have had there. He got overtaken at turn 1, but Maniac got caught up there, and there was a big off at the back. IRL Logan had an off, as well as T Salmons, and I think Sam was involved in that as well in the V-carb. So there's a lot going on down in turn 1 that somehow everyone's still facing the right way, and I don't think there was a lot of damage either. So everyone's kind of got away with that cleanly. Toddy has an 8/10 gap. He's almost pulled DRS to Zilla already, who's going to have to work extremely hard to keep himself in there. And in fact, he is. He's going to burn to try and keep up with Toddy. An 8-lap race. So there's not a lot of management going on here between the drivers, as Hendo is now attacking Simo. This is an important battle for P2 in that Drivers' Championship. And he had to go down that bus stop chicane, but it was nothing doing there. And Simo had a much better exit there, which keeps him in front.
Yes, of course, as Maniac tries to go side to side with Cashmash up down into turn 1. This is a really not great place to be, side to side, and up into Redion. Are they still gonna go side to side or gonna have to give up? Yup, Maniac has to give up that position because that place does not look good. He's saying, I'm gonna take him on the straights. As we head on to the straights of lap 2, is he gonna make the move down the inside or does he not? No, he doesn't. The Satsi thinks about moving into Void, but no, he doesn't think about it. Everyone looks to have DRS range, as the Aston Martins are both on the podiums, but Toddy being the Williams man out there. It's a Williams 1 and a Williams 20, so first and last, not really a great look for Williams, but also at the same time it does. So still some great battles to see, but we're gonna have to look into it throughout the entire 8 laps.
Yeah, it's a Williams sandwich at the moment, you could describe it, the whole field. As Toddy just about has that 1 second gap, but Zilla fighting extremely hard to stay in there. It's going to be tough work for the Aston Martin, and the field just starting to settle down a little bit here, as now Satsi is quite close to Voida, fighting for that P8. There's a yellow out the back. That's Boza.
Boza has retired from the session. What has happened? Not really sure what
has happened to Boza there.
I believe Nat has gone damaged, but we're gonna have to look. Not sure. Yeah, it looks like
yes.
Nahammer has a damage end plate to the left side, so there was some contact that has happened. I think there was a front wing damage, so there was no point of continuing throughout. So that's really, really unfortunate for Nat. Usually with great starts is now all the way down with a damage on their end plate.
Yeah, no safety car though, which is good for the drivers up front. They can continue going on full speed. Zilla, I believe, has missed out on DRS on this lap, but is still able to hold that gap. Hendo not gaining anything on Simo at the moment, and it's just not close enough as the Maniac went off the track there. Had a bit of an excursion, but it's back on now. And we go down the field a little bit. Daniel Starr has made a move on Sam into 15th place. A lot of work to do for the Ferrari, who's had a rough start to this one. And yeah, so things, as I said, starting to settle down. We're almost halfway through this sprint race already. And Toddy now with a 1.6 second gap, flying away with this one in that Williams car.
Yeah, Toddy's really making some good progress, getting away from Zilla, his biggest rival competitor. But is he gonna make mistakes, or is he gonna stay consistent with this pace? Because now he's absolutely flying. Sector 2 fastest, so I think it's just going to be an Aston 2-3 unless something severe happens, like a safety car or maybe a Toddy mistake, because usually the more faster you go, the more risk you have playing out in hand with things like lockup or a power slide. So you just need to be really careful, but also at the same time just try and get it. As Maniac gets a 3-second time penalty, really unfortunate for the Red Bull driver, who usually had a great start but has had a contact with the Haas driver Cashmash during the first turn. So he's going to be dropped all the way. I believe P8, P9 of the position goes out like this. So it's kind of interesting to see what's going on. As you were right, Jamin, as the grid is starting to slow down their pace and no overtakes are starting to appear.
Yeah, a little bit of as Simo gets really close there to to his teammate Zilla there. So could there be a potential swap between the Aston Martin? Zilla has gained a lot of time in the last half a lap, so that makes you think that Zilla might be running a bit lower downforce than Toddy, gaining a lot of time on that straight. If they could just hang on for the rest of this lap, it could be a real threat here. But Simo's looking to have good race pace, and yeah, Maniac is 2 seconds back from the front of this pack, from the rear of this pack, I should say, and a bit of a turnaround after being the lead after turn 1. Just that little moment has cost him, and now 3-second penalty is going to hurt things even more. But Zilla all of a sudden is right back into this contest. 6/10 and closing. I'm not sure what's happened to Toddy. Maybe he's just charging a little bit. But it is a real opportunity here for the Aston Martins to attack. It's 2 versus 1 in this case, with Zilla now closing down on the Williams and going to try and tee up a move down the Kemmel Straight, I'd suspect. And now into the bus stop chicane again. This is going to be crucial. Makes a bit more curb than Toddy does. And now we start lap 5 of 8. And Zilla gets the DRS open, but it was a great exit from Toddy. And a huge slide for Zilla there. He's drifted into that corner. Somehow he hasn't lost that much time from it. But he keeps it going for now. But his teammate Simo is now right on the back. Is he going to try and move here? Is there going to be any sort of team orders? It doesn't look like it, as Simo now steps on the DRS. He's got the slipstream from Toddy in front, but Zilla is going hard. Is he going to go for the lead here? He looks down the inside. Toddy is... He opened the door there for Zilla, but didn't take it on this occasion. This is getting very tight between the front 3 here.
Zilla is trying to not give out the risk to just try and get the lead. He knows he still has a little bit of laps remaining. I think he just needs to stay behind his back, get a little bit more closer so that he can get more ahead, so that he can get that position more better as Zilla. But he needs to just try and get close to Toddy, but he needs to be careful of that dirty air, especially for this turn that he's going into now, and his teammate Simo, who also has DRS. But this I know there's going to be some kind of team orders that's going to be happening with the Astons, but who's going to be ahead of them, well, we don't know for sure, but we just need to just wait it out and see. For the Astons, are they going to try and risk it for the win for the fast driver Toddy? I'm not sure what happened with Toddy. Just 2 laps ago, he was like 1.7 away. So I think there was some mistake that has happened, because now Zilla just can't just leave him alone. Now he's just behind him as we head on to the bus stops into lap 6. A little bit of a power slide from Toddy right there. That's going to slow him down just a little bit. He's just trying to push from the looks of it. As we head on to turn 1, is he going to try and get away from him? He's around 7.7 away, so I think if he has enough battery, he's going to try and get to him, but we're going to have to see just about now.
Yeah, Zilla is gaining a lot down this straight. He's a lot closer now. Sam's retired in the pits, and here we go. Zilla for the lead of the race once again. Just holds off. Simo, his teammate, has dropped quite a bit back this lap. Toddy holds the position. But Zilla, if he can stay within this DRS range, I suspect he's going to look to wait for a final lap overtake here. and which wouldn't allow Toddy to fight back at all. So is this a bit of strategic play from Zilla? But the question I am asking is Simo, who is a lot higher in the championship than Zilla is he going to be like, wait a minute, I need these points against Toddy, so why don't you just move aside for me, Zilla, so I can come through and try and get this victory for myself, which I'm surprised hasn't happened yet. So we'll see if that comes into play in the last couple of laps here. But the top 5 are all within DRS range of another. One little slip up could be very, very costly here for any one of these.
Yeah, I mean, Simo really needs to get that position ahead of Zilla so that he can get himself ahead to the driver standings. But this is just the sprints, but every point matters, especially for sprint races. So I'm keen to know if there's going to be some kind of team orders, or they're going to fight it all as drivers. But if they do fight as drivers, they have a risk of crashing into each other. But I highly doubt that with their clean racing from around China, of course. So just looking to see what's going to happen with the Astons. This is going to be a little bit of a spice going on, but Toddy really fighting for the win here. He's been P1 consistently throughout the entire league. But is Zilla going to be having enough speed to try and get Toddy this time? No, he doesn't. He's a little bit more further ahead this time. Works get a 3-second time penalty. The penalties are starting to head up now. I believe it's around the sector 1 part, because you need to be careful with those white lines. I know you're trying to get that speed, but you also need to be accountable for the track limits, as Toddy this time gets a little bit more further from Zilla. Now 1 second away. I believe it's because Zilla made a little bit of a mistake just 2 turns ago. So there's going to be some Aston battles if Zilla doesn't catch up to him. As we can see, Dirty Air is having a play with Simo. A little bit of understeer going on, and especially with the old tires now going into play, they're going to have to be really careful with oversteer and understeer having more on play, and they need to charge their ERS when they head on to Sector 1.
Yeah, Toddy pushed really hard there through the middle of the lap, and he's pulled out a huge gap. And all of a sudden, I think it caught Zilla napping a little bit there, because 1.4 the difference going to this final lap. Nowhere near close enough, but Zilla is at risk of falling into the clutches of his teammate here in Simo. So we'll see what happens down this straight. Simo all of a sudden 5/10 behind, no DRS for Zilla. And J Cash also overtook Hendo on that last lap to move him up to P4, so that's another position gained for J Cash, but a little bit too far behind these two. Look at the speed of Simo out of Eau Rouge.
What a great launch from Simo right there as he overtakes his teammate Zilla. Didn't even need the ERS. He just needed to just get a good launch. What a great move from Simo on the final lap of the sprint. Toddy is still ahead of the both Aston, but Simo is just catching up really fast. Just look at him, just really going, just flying through. But is he going to be able to catch up to him throughout the final stops, or is he not going to be able to get through him? That was really interesting to see.
I don't think he's going to be quite close enough here. But that was an absolutely unreal effort from Simo there, and he's snatched P2 off his teammate right at the last moment here, and still continuing to gain on Toddy. It's 7/10 the difference. There is one more overtaking opportunity. Toddy all of a sudden feeling a bit of pressure. Did he go too hard too early here? There's a yellow towards the back as well, but we'll keep an eye on this front running battle as Toddy, who has led all 8 laps, just has a couple corners to go to get the job done here, and he should be safe from here surely now. Simo just a little bit too far back as Toddy enters the bus stop chicane. The championship leader qualified on pole, and he gets the job done, leads all the way from start to finish to take the sprint race here in Spa. Simo with a great finish at the end, brings him to P2, and Zilla, his teammate, P3. Nicely done to round out the podium, but a great race from Toddy there, and is able to hang on despite a little bit of pressure from behind.
What a great race from Toddy, being able to keep that position all to himself. Even if the Astons got really close to each other, Toddy was still able to defend it like a lion and he gets another win in Tier 2. Absolute domination with the Williams driver, but his teammate Ariel Logan goes from P20 to P15. So what a great launch from his teammate Ariel Logan, but still not enough to get into the points and compete with his really competitive driver. But this is just sprints, and they've only gotten 4 points. Toddy, your winner for the sprint race, and alongside Simo and Zilla, the Astons, yet another with another Aston 2-3 cash mash with the Haas driver. Hendo, Scotty, Sutsi, and Void are the ones to take points with the sprint points for today, but we still have the full race to go, which will have the full-on 25 points.
Yeah, good races from Scotty and Voider there to get up. We didn't focus on them too much, just a quiet little charge up the pack for them. And Simo as well, a standout down from P6 on the grid. And Maniac, unfortunately, was the driver that missed out there. He fell all the way to P9 after that penalty. But he'll feel some promise after that qualifying session. So hopefully he can repeat those heroics and start in a similar position for the feature race.
Yes, and of course we're heading into the short qualifying. Now usually there's 3 qualifying races, but here in AUSF1 there's only one, so you have around 3 soft tires, and depending on what strategy you put in, it's either a soft, a medium, or a hard, but I highly doubt anyone has a hard anyways. So it's quite interesting to see the drivers having 18 minutes to try and get a time with 4 decisions, 4 tire decisions that they can put in. So they have even more chances to try. From what we've seen before in the short qualifying, Maniac and Toddy at one point getting close with the 0.002 of a second, I believe. So I'm hoping to see what's going on in the grid, to see maybe there's some teams slipstreams or maybe some incidences. But as a protein group, the McLaren goes up, the first person to get onto the grids. So let's see what's going to happen.
Yep, well, the timing board resets. Everyone is on level peaking once again, so 18 minutes to get the job done for these drivers, and there'll be a few that missed out on a good result in that first session that will be looking to get really involved in this main qualifying session. This is where all the big points are, so drivers will not be getting too discouraged by the sprint race result, because this is where it really matters. So the pressure is really going to be ramped up. Protein Group is the only driver out there. He's going to be on the medium tyres to kick us off. As you mentioned, the tyre choices will be crucial in this session as well. And we've had a very dry Spa so far. Not a hint of rain in the clouds to speak of as we continue this session.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if we saw a rain race, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Tier 1 has been getting a lot of rain races recently. Places like Great Britain, and I believe, if I'm not wrong, other places. I'm not really sure though. I'm not aware. But Donna has mentioned there's a wet race incoming. I'm not sure about that because the clouds look to be a little bit dry. So, but anything can happen. And of course, look at Protein Group spins out during the out lap. I think he's warming up his tires a little bit too much. So yeah, that was really interesting to see. That was quite embarrassing, but yeah, a little bit of mistakes.
If there's a wet race incoming, I think we might have to stop and wait for the rain to stop before we go out. It'd be very dangerous out there, so we can't do it.
Yeah, but it looks to be dry right now. So, but you know, again, Protein Group goes into the grass a little bit. I'm not sure. This is quite a unique outlap, if you tell me, Jamin. Just going through the gravels and grass. I think that can cool out the tires a little bit and give out less grip. But I think that's his goal, or something like that, as he heads down, the first person to set up a lap time. So.
Yeah, he just wanted to explore the track a little bit.
Yeah.
That's alright.
Yeah, be a little bit of an explorer person. Be a little bit Dora the Explorer. I think that's the inspiration right there. So, figuring out the racing lines, going, you know what, I'll just find out ways to be more unique, just advantages, if I think about it.
Yeah, you never know. There could be a bit of lap time to be found on the gravel as well. It depends on where you go, but it's looking like a decent little start for Protein Group. He doesn't look like he's pushing overly hard based on the battery level there, though.
Yeah, and of course, some drivers are mentioning the race is going to be wet, so I think we are in the wrongs. Let's not forget, we don't have a radar with us, so the drivers can tell us. And Sam R24, I believe he's the one driving also, so this is going to be a surprise for us up until the race, but for now, looks pretty much dry to us. We're unsure if it's going to be mid-race or pre-race, so gonna have to be let known by the drivers on the grid. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, a few drivers now starting to come out. I'm having a look at Hado currently, who's pushing at this stage. He's gone onto the soft tyres, so Protein Group a bit of an outlier there with his first run on the mediums. But looking pretty solid is Hado, 144 flat pretty much. Protein Group there, I assume that'll be knocked off pretty quickly. What was the pole time? It was in the 140s, wasn't it?
It was around 43 or some of that sort. I'm not really sure. We're gonna have to look into the grid later on, as Sam, the said driver that said the race is gonna be wet, is on the track setting up another lap time. We'll see how the Visa Cash App driver sets up a lap. He's on the softs, so already using all of his ERS, by the way, Jamie. Look at this. He's already at 37% battery. That's a little bit too much if you tell me. But, yeah, this is going to be really a big disadvantage around the Sector 3. And no surprise, he gets the fastest Sector 1. But Heydu sets up a fastest lap time of a 43.4. I wasn't aware of him setting a lap time because I just saw Sam. But, yeah. That's quite surprising. But now we're looking into Sam, who's obviously now the next person. So I think it isn't around the 43s, because Heydu was one of those who were pretty close to Toddy. As the Red Bull driver gets away.
41s.
I think he was from the 41s. Well, we're gonna have to look into what's happening, because we are all unsure. We weren't aware. Toddy sets up a lap time of a 42.4, almost second faster than Heydu. His teammate Ira Logan, for the first time I've seen, gets close to Toddy. That's really a rare sight to see. From what I've commentated before, wasn't able to get close to his teammate, but now he does. Quite surprising. But now it's a Williams 1-2. Who's next on the grid? Hold on. I believe it's Salmons, who's on the bus stop chicane. What time is he going to set, as his deploy has all been used? Really bad launch. He gets a P5, almost 900 milliseconds away from Toddy. And Cashmash getting really close to Toddy. Hendo gets a 42.4 and is pretty close to Toddy, 600ths of a second away. I'm really missing out all the drivers. That's not really good. So my apologies if I missed out the best ones. I'm not as the same as the F1 race directors and the real ones, so I'm trying out my hardest, guys.
Yeah, well, Zilla's also coming to the line now, so we'll see if he's got a response of some kind. Not as quick. It's going to be P4 for the second Aston Martin there. And we'll have a look at Satsi, actually, I reckon, because he's just starting his lap. And did a pretty decent job in the sprint qualifying there. I think he actually missed out on a final run there. I believe he was in the top 10 for the sprint. So we'll see if there's going to be a similar effort here from Satsi, usually a pretty good qualifier. And we'll see how he goes here. It's a mental test as much as it is a skill test in Spa, just because of how long the lap is. It's longer than every other track on the calendar in terms of lap time and distance as well, just about. So that is a real added challenge for the drivers as Sutsi now working his way through, trying to chase down Hendo and Toddy, who have set the pace comfortably at the moment, 4/10 clear of all comers. And Sutsi now continuing as it's just foot to the floor from here, trying to manage the battery. Another unique challenge of this track is you got to be very selective about where you use it, and Sutsi is completely out of battery.
Oh, he goes
as he approaches the bus stop chicane, and almost all the way there now, and it looked pretty decent. Not going to be enough for pole, but it will be enough for P4. So he's in the 142s, nicely done.
That's a really good lap from Sutsi, but not the best, of course. That's kind of obvious. And you were right about how long this track is. A track that's around 7.004 meters. Of course, the mental stage that these guys have around Sector 3 is, am I going to be able to set up a good lap time, or am I going to fail it? So if you don't have that big of a mental strength, you get anxious and your hands are going to shake up, and your legs are going to definitely shake up as well. If you're on wheel or if you're on the controller, your hands are definitely shaking, and that's going to affect your qualifying performance. Now, as a driver myself, you know, a track like Miami is definitely a track where I felt anxious, and I've messed up my qualifying and was like a second away from my personal best. So you just need to be careful of the mental strength you have, because everyone wants to be in that pole position. Even if you're slow or you're fast, you always have that Max Verstappen mentality. If you think about it, is I want to be fast, I want to be fast, I want to be fast. And when you see one of your sectors being a green but not a purple, or even a yellow, as a matter of fact, you think, oh well, I'm being really slow right now, so I'm gonna try and push it more harder, and then you're just going to lock up and get it much worse. So this is definitely one of the longest tracks, so that anxious is starting to slowly creep up on you. But if you train to do that, you can definitely get a position like Hendo and Toddy being very far ahead. So it's going to be
I'm usually pretty relaxed at my qualifying lap because I know I'm not going to finish above P15 usually. Yeah, so, but yes, a lot of drivers are going to be competing very hard here, as Simo is another one of those contenders on their first lap of the session. So this is going to be a bit of work here. Gets very close to the gravel there. I don't believe this is a full pace lap, as he's got a full tank of battery that he is now absolutely burning. Maybe this is a different strategy for Simo. Wait till the end of the lap to use the battery and maybe hold a bit more speed through the corners. But we'll see. It's looking pretty competitive so far from Simo as he comes to the line now, and it's a 142.8.
And
so P5,
Maniac. Don't forget about Maniac. Looks to be making a good lap time. What time will he be setting up? He sets up a P14. I think that's because his battery removed. I was really expecting him to be around Toddy's lap time, but yeah, that's unfortunate. My apologies for cutting you off. Was really keen to know what happened to the driver. Bevo makes it to P10 with around the 43.2. Not the best for the Kick Sauber driver. Expected to be around the P7 pace, but usually happens. We head on to Scotty now as he sets up a lap time.
Yeah, Scotty had a very good sprint race up from P9 in qualification to P6, and he's just gone a bit wide.
Oh, he just...
That is a very common error on this track. Everyone wants to go flat out, but sometimes the car is just not able to handle it. Yeah,
this is one of the most common mistakes drivers can make. They think they can go full on. They think they're on the Mercedes W11, but sometimes they're gonna have to move out the throttle just a little bit so they can just try and get that position going. But yeah, everyone has had that incident before, just getting too close to getting away from the white lines and just getting unlucky. So we just hope to see nothing happens to those drivers. Simo has also gotten an invalidation, so he's gonna have to head back into the pits. Behind him, Cash Mash. Not the same fate. He's on the softs this time, so we're gonna have to see. Maybe he's gonna get the fastest lap. because he was really close to Toddy on the mediums. But as he heads down to the start-finish line, what time will he be set up? Is it going to be a pole position? Yes, it will. A 42.283 for the Haas driver. Only 140 milliseconds faster than the Mercedes Hendo. As I have expected, the Haas driver is on pole, even with the softs, because as we've seen with his mediums, he was on P4, so it was a extraordinarily big pace. But there's still one more to go. 4 minutes remaining until the qualifying finishes. Is there any driver that's doing a lap time? I believe that's Sam. Nope, he is not setting up a lap time, so I think he's heading on to the pits, unfortunately. He's on P12. I believe he is going into the pits. Yes, he is. So everyone is out. But Daniel Stars is actually on an out lap. He just came out of the pits. This is definitely his last effort, because there won't be enough time for...
on a lap as well, I believe.
No, Scotty, I believe... let me see again. No, he is not. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, yeah, I think he is on a lap time. Yeah, no, he is. He is using his hot lap.
Yep. I don't think this is going to be up there with the fastest times.
Yes.
Yeah, it's. I don't think this is an opening.
Oh yeah, that is. He is coming into the pits. As I he hits the pit wall. Well, some unique things have happened during the qualifying with the bottoms. Protein with the gravel leave. Scotty with the pit wall now. So yeah, a little bit interesting strategies from the drivers. Haven't seen those quite before.
Yeah, final runs coming up now, and everyone is giving it absolutely everything in this session, as you can see. Cashmash and Hendo have stepped up their qualifying game. Toddy had the job done easily in the sprint qualifying, but he's got a couple of challenges now that are rising up to put some pressure on him.
Yeah, and of course, you can look at from P1 to P9 or even P11, there's only less than a second, so really competitive grid out there. They're gonna have to, everyone's gonna need to improve from their lap time, so I'm keen to know who will get that pole position. Every man is for themselves. It could be an unexpected pole position. Is it gonna be Cashmash, Hando, Toddy, or even Protein Group? So it's just very, very unexpected for a track like Spa, because Sector 1 is definitely a place where you can get a lot of top speed. And look at how many drivers are on Sector 1. There's like 5 drivers close to each other. Look at that. That's a lot of laps of drivers. As Daniel is within the traffic too. Daniel is on his hot lap too. He's the only person who's doing a lap. This is really bad for the Ferrari driver. Look at the Alpine that's just in front of him. Is he gonna give him space or not? There's a lot of dirty air happening. It's really unfortunate for the driver. Oh my god, look at... Oh no! Oh, really close for the Aston, blocking the Ferrari. Oh, that's definitely going to be checked by the stewards. Oh no, really unfortunate for Daniel.
Up, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Have to give that one up.
Yeah, you can even hear from the throttle. He had to slow down at one point so that he can avoid contact from the Aston. I'm not really sure who it was. I think it was Simo, who's just ahead of him. So I think this is what happens when you get a little bit too close to the traffic. Really bad launch for Daniel. Worst timing, if you think about it. So it's really unfortunate. And Protein, the only person who doesn't have a traffic, really lucky man out here. The first man to set up a lap time. Or no, I believe that's Hendo who's the first person. Yeah, that is indeed Hendo. So we're going to have to look into him first. We're going to see if he's going to take that pole position from Cashmash, or is he going to stay in P2 and not improve. Going to be really close.
Yeah, well, Hendo on his lap now. I don't think Cashmash is going to make it to the line to start another lap, so I think he might be done for this qualifying session. Hendo up 2/10 through the first sector. So this is looking really good for the Mercedes early. A lot of cars behind, a lot of traffic as everyone trying to set their lap time as late as they possibly can. And yep, Cashmash did not make it to the line in time.
Oh so no, Cashmash.
is going to be that time to beat. And Hendo, after that first sector, is in a really good position to knock it off as he is coming through the second sector now. He's got Toddy and Protein Group and Simo and Satsi all to come. So there's going to be some pressure on him as well. And takes a little bit of curb there. He's only minorly improved there through the middle sector, but at this stage it's going to be just enough to secure the pole position if he can just hold it together through the final sector. Cashmash watching along nervously to see what happens here. Hendo to the line, to the bus stop chicane, and just needs to keep it nice and clean, and he does that, and this should be enough to get provisional pole, and it is a 141.8. He does it easily, but there's still other drivers to come.
There, look at the McLaren driver. He does not improve by just 100ths. So that's really unfortunate for the McLaren driver, as the other drivers are heading down to the pit stop. Void waves around, and also the Haas. So it looks like they obviously couldn't get a lap time set. We're gonna have to look into Toddy to see what lap time is he gonna set. Is he gonna get a pole position, or is he not? He does it with only 700ths of a second. Really close rivalry right there. Is there gonna be any more drivers gonna take that pole position? No, it looks to be that's it. That is it. Hendo is your pole position driver. Toddy getting really close with 700ths of a second, and Cashmash being only 400 millisecond close to the Toddy. So Hendo and Toddy being really close to each other and being away with the rest. That was really close, and a optimal pole position for the Mercedes driver. Really close. Gets to show you how close these guys are.
Yep, that's an incredible lap at the last moment there by Hendo, and that is very important after a relatively disappointing sprint race. Hendo now has the opportunity to lead from pole position and gives himself the best chance to win this race, but Toddy will be right on his hammer as well. Also at the last moment, Scotty there hadn't set a lap time for the whole session, came up to P10, so was able to perform in the clutch when it mattered. But there's your qualifying order. Hendo from Toddy from Cashmash, and then Protein Group, Simo, Satsi, Botanical Bot, Verx, Maniac, and Scotty round out the top 10.
And of course, Hendo and Toddy being really close to each other, 700ths of a second. Very great move from Hendo, who also got a faster sector too. So he really did a solid job getting pole position.
Yep, fantastic. And I believe, from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, there is a bit of talk around some wet weather. So let's see what we have in front of us here as
oh, look at that. There is indeed rain. Oh, we have been so wrong. There definitely is a wet race. So for every driver who has put up a full dry setup is on a huge risk. And for the drivers who are on an intermediate or on their feet, they're gonna get a good launch. And this is going to be really interesting to see, Jamin. This is going to be a very good race.
Yes, well, I'm hearing whispers that Hendo might have been using a dry setup in that qualifying session.
Oh, no.
Which might have contributed to his pole position, but it does mean that he is in a good position in P1, but it's going to be a lot of work. It's not streaming down. It looks like just a bit of light rain for now, so I wonder if it's just going to be an intermediate setup for most of the drivers. But yeah, this is going to be really interesting. I wonder if it's going to stay like this as the lights come on for the feature race here in Spa. It's Hendo on pole from Toddy, and we are underway for round 5 as Hendo gets a good start off the line. Toddy not so much, with Cashmash already down that inside. A move from Simo there, just pulls out of it, and onto the gravel goes Hendo, which gives Toddy the perfect opportunity to sail through into the lead. All of a sudden now Cashmash is alongside Hendo into Eau Rouge. Just pulls out of that one, which is probably the smart decision. Now Protein Group right on the back, who has to go off the track there. and cars are flying absolutely everywhere at this stage. And now Simo wheel to wheel with Protein Group as well. Hendo trying to gain on Toddy but can't do it. And Protein Group now down the inside. Simo trying to hold that outside line, just not enough space on the track.
Oh,
and there's a
my
little bit of
God.
bumping between them. Protein Group just holds that position without any issues and holds on to P4, but crucially, Toddy has taken the lead off Hendo, and a huge dive from Botanical Bot on Simo to get into P5. Simo's still there on the inside. This is a great little scrap, and Botanical Bot is off into the
my
wall
God.
and has a big smack against the barrier, tries to get on the track. The cars have to take avoiding action, and he's all the way down to P17. And it's Bevo off at the back as well in the kick sour. What a chaotic start to this race, Mikey.
Botanical Bar from great move to Simo to all the way down to P17. What is going on? Toddy takes the lead from Hendo already. So this man just cannot. He's just addicted to being first place. What a chaotic start from P4 to P8. From what happened during turn 1, some moves were made. And a surprising intermediate race, because we thought that it was going to be a full dry race, but surprisingly it's intermediates, so it's just going to be really interesting to see what's going on. Hendo
3 wide into the bus stop chicane.
Oh my God.
Between Simo, Protein Group and Logan, who's
was
absolutely flown up 7 positions in this race, and he's
my
getting
God.
bumped. And a massive moment for Logan there. He somehow keeps it facing the right way. Protein Group wheel to wheel with Maniac into turn 1. He has the inside line. Maniac no space, and he's just edged out of it by Protein Group. But wow, that is unbelievable commitment by all 3 of those drivers there.
What the hell was that? 3 wide bus stop. What has even happened? All drivers are going full force to try and get positions. This is how much they want to just get to the points. Just really close. You just could see a move going on with the Vec driver. Look at oh God, I'm sorry, hold on. I believe there was some moves made by Vex, but he wasn't able to successfully get it. There are some DRS trains, but of course there are no DRS trains. I believe this is going to be a wet race throughout the entire race. From what we've looked into the look at this, already a race strategy just popped out as soon as I said what the strategy is going to be. So it is going to indeed be a wet race, but so many things have happened during lap 1. What even happened? So at lap 1, we went from drivers clashing in turn 1 to the end of the straight to 3 wide and bus stop. I mean, how more of a chaotic this could have been, Jamin?
Yeah, honestly, it's been unbelievable. Lap 1 chaos strikes again here in Spa. In the meantime, though, Protein Group made another move and he got back up into P4 over Simo, who is now absolutely desperate to fight back. But look at that gap between Toddy and Hendo and Cashmash. It's already up to about 4 seconds. So Hendo, even though he's apparently running a dry setup, he's got some great pace and is able to hang on to the back of Toddy. But obviously the no DRS is going to make overtaking a little bit more complicated, and we're seeing lap times in about the 155s from Toddy. So a lot of work to be done, and it's not a DRS train, but it is a train, but pretty much from Protein Group all the way down to T Salmons in P19. A second within separates everyone in that pack at the moment as we head on to lap 3 of this race. And drivers are just starting to calm down a little bit now, but you can see there's been huge jumps in position. Logan up 6 places to P7, and Hado up 7 places to P9. Matt Hammer started last, he's up to 13th, and Bevo, and as we're seeing a bit of a move here, and it's Hado, he's getting attacked by Verk. Verk having a go around the outside. Now the Alpine of Scotty's getting involved, and just backs out of that one, but that's a very close battle. Sutsy's back there as well. He's had a very slow start. Scotty now going down the inside of Verk for P10 and just holding the car, putting the pressure on the RB, who's got the inside line now. Can Scotty hang on in these wet conditions? He can for now, but a better exit from Verk. This is going to make things difficult for Scotty, but he breaks late and he's committed around the outside, and Verks runs off the track. Scotty, absolute 100% commitment to that move, and it takes the position off Verk. Nicely done there.
Very great move from Scotty. If I'm right, he started from all the way down, or no way, he did stay in P10. I think I've mistaken the sprint qualifying with this qualifying, but a great move from Scotty nonetheless. Huge late break, but he knows what he's doing from the looks of it. He knows what this track is. He knows everything, as a matter of fact. But is he going to be able to catch up to Hey Dude? That's a question we're all going to need answers from. And from what I've seen before, as you were talking, Jamin, Hendo is really struggling with the track. I mean, I've seen him like sliding left and right and having his ERS all the way down. Is his ERS still low? He's at the 20%, while Toddy has 60%. So Toddy has an ERS advantage, and Hendo just cannot catch up to him because he just doesn't have enough ERS. So it's not going to be a good race for Hendo to get that win. So it's really unfortunate for the driver. We're gonna have to look into the back straight as Maniac gets a little bit close to Simo, but nothing seems to be happening. So everyone's getting a little bit far apart. Nothing is going on. I'm hoping the race does not stay like this. I need more action, if I got to be honest with you. And
yeah, Hendo, as you mentioned, Hendo is pushing really hard in these early stages just to hang on to Toddy, and Toddy seems to be able to conserve his tyres quite a bit. So looking pretty comfortable in that lead despite the gap only being around 7/10. And if we look to this midfield battle here, Simo really closing up on Protein Group, and Maniac as well is having a much better start to this race than he did in the sprint. So better signs for the Red Bull here. And this is where you want to be performing your best in the main race. But the rain is still looking very light at the moment. The clouds are still pretty dark around the track, but I do wonder if there's going to be a dry patch coming at some stage in this race, because the rain is just, I think it's a little bit lighter from what I can tell from this compared to the start of the race. I'm no weather expert, but it just seems that way, as Simo still behind Protein Group for now, and everyone holds stations as we enter lap 5.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really sure how the weather would go. I mean, it could be a light rain, but it could stay like this throughout the entire 22 laps. We have half of the race. I mean, we could have the full 44 and have a dry patch, but we have half of the race, so it's going to be really unknown to us commentators. But for the drivers, they have their race engineer telling them how much of the rain is going to happen and what the tires are suggested. So it could either be a full wet race or a dry patch, which is going to be even more interesting than the race, as Ira Logan makes a move of Maniac. Is he going to keep that position of P6? Yes, he does. A great move from Logan on the Camel Straight as he heads on to P6, while his teammate Toddy is in P1 and a full second away from the Mercedes driver Hendo. Simo looks to be close to Protein, but you got to be careful with that dirty air, because wet race and a dirty air is definitely not the best thing to have, and especially low downforce. So he looks to be getting away with those dirty air, so he's moving out of the way so that it doesn't affect him as much as if he stays. So keen to know what's happening. Is he gonna make the move? No, he doesn't. Okay, that was just a camera misplacement. So yeah, a little bit of a boring race, but also at the same time quite entertaining. But we hope to see, as Void looks to be closer to Botanical Bot, but nothing seems to be happening. So still uninteresting race, but we're gonna have to wait and see if there's going to be a safety car.
Yeah, a little bit of a holding pattern at the moment, but there is a very close battle going on. Scotty did make a move ahead of Hado on that previous lap, and Hado now really putting the pressure back on Scotty. And Verk, who was very close behind us, made a little bit of an error there and just dropped a few tenths back for now. But yeah, still plenty to be fought over in this midfield for these points positions, as drivers starting to set up. Those intermediate tyres are going to be starting to hurt soon. I've seen a lot of sliding. I know the wet weather conditions are very difficult to handle in this game, as you can see, just sliding pretty much on every corner from drivers. So Hado lost quite a bit of time there. He's now pretty much almost wheel to wheel with Verks behind him. Verk just stays behind for now. but he's got a good run here. Can Hato hold him off? Verk is pushing hard though. Which way is he going to go? To the inside or the outside? Oh,
Oh, God.
Hato didn't want him to go to the inside. Verk takes a little bit of grass and doesn't break too late. A slide from Hato, and they look just a little bit of a love tap there from Verk onto Hato, just to let him know that he's there. But Verk wasn't able to take advantage of that opportunity, but he goes down the inside. And he gets hit by Hato, who says you can't do that. And now Satsi hits Verk as well, and he loses another position. And all of a sudden, he's down in 12th and struggling. But that was a late dive from Verk. Unfortunately, he faced the consequence.
Yeah, a very optimistic move, but a failed move nonetheless. Verk gets contacted by Hato and Satsi, so really unfortunate, but he's glad that there's no damage that has happened to his wings, so he still has a chance to race in the rain. Now, we can't say it's the same fate as Bevo, who's all the way down, 49 seconds away, so he's already getting close to getting lapped by Toddy. But just, that's a really unfortunate move from Verk. Sometimes you gotta be optimistic, but sometimes those optimistic moves do not work out for you. Because he was going off the grass. But is he going to make a move down to Satsi? Is it going to be another optimistic move? Yes, it will be another optimistic move. He locks up his tires, but he's going to stay side to side. A little bit of contact between him and Satsi. He's still going. Oh, he goes off the track. He has to give back the position. But again, optimistic moves. He's really going all brawl out for all the drivers on the track. He just doesn't care if he gets damaged or not. He wants all the points he needs. But those two moves didn't work out the way he wanted it for him to go. As something happened, Protein retires from the race. It looks to be a full safety car, and he crashes down at Radion. From the looks of it, you can look at the crash over here. Look at Daniel Starr. He has crashed down at Radion. What has happened to the McLaren driver who's up to P4? That's a full safety car. We had to jinx it, unfortunately. The first driver to DNF. And I think it had to have been the slip, because it's wet. You have to expect it, but I don't think it is. Are the drivers going to pit? Well, we're gonna have to see. Have a look at Simo. Someone says, where's Simo? I'm trying to look for. Oh, Simo. Look at Simo over here. I don't think anything has happened. I think he was trying to make a move down to Protein, because someone has mentioned he was going for a move. So I think we have missed out on what happened.
Just based on where that, I think that probably was most likely self-inflicted from Protein Group there. It's a very common mistake to make, especially in the wet. So I do wonder what happened. I think he did have a bit of a gap there to Simo, but nevertheless, that's a big DNF there. He was up in P4 running a really good race, but that does open up opportunities for the other drivers. And yes, we will see if there's going to be any pit stops. A few drivers might be wanting to get rid of those intermediate tyres. Toddy has a great gap up front. If he pits, he could almost come back out in about P4, P5, and he's going to pit, and so's Hendo. So let's see if anyone decides to take a gamble here. No, Cashmash going to stay out, and Simo is as well. Simo's going to pit as well.
Yeah, some of the drivers are going into the pits. Yep, everyone is indeed going into the pits.
Yeah, so everyone not happy with their intermediate tyres, and they're going to change them over. So pretty much going to get a clean restart here. Everyone's going to slap some new tyres on, not too many position changes. In fact, no one has taken a gamble on new inters in this stage, but it does bunch the field right back up. Toddy and Hendo had about a 9-second gap to the rest of the field, so this will frustrate them quite a bit.
Yeah, this is a really interesting strategy that's going on. Everyone's going into the pits, so everyone's going to have a second chance of trying to get the lead of the race. So everyone's going to get packed up, especially Bevo, who's a little bit far away. He's just finished sector 2, so he's going to be taking a while to just try and catch up, but he still has another chance. So he went from having around 40 seconds to now, I think, getting close to Sam or 23. We're going to have to look at who gained the position and who didn't. Bevo obviously 7 loss. Sam has also lost 4 positions, and the driver who has gained the most is a match between Ira Logan and Haydu with 8 total positions. So that's really a lot. While Protein Group went from P4 to a DNF. So could have been a lot of points for the McLaren drivers, but mistakes have happened, and that cost the team a lot of points.
Yeah, disappointing result, but some promising signs there from that race for Protein Group. Good qualifying, and was able to hold his own for quite a bit there under a lot of pressure, but unfortunately just fell short at the end of the day, so no points on the board. But now our focus is on the race at hand. Cashmash gets the opportunity to catch up, who was running a very lonely race there in P3. Had a big gap out in front and a gap behind as well. And this brings Simo back into it, and with his championship rivals just up ahead in his sights, he can really start to have a crack. And yeah, Ira Logan as well is going to be a real dangerous one to watch out for. Started down P13, up 8. And Maniac as well has had a very good start to this one after a rough sprint race, so he's recovered well. And the safety car should be going for a little bit longer, I suspect.
I think there's going to be 2 more laps. I mean, Bevo is still really far behind, but now that the drivers are all packed up, they're going to be really slowed down by the safety car. So now Bevo's going to catch up really quick. But as you've said, I mean, the Red Bull drivers have had good pace recently throughout the races. Also, the Aston Martin drivers. I can't say the same for the Williams, because Logan, during some of the races, like the Britain GP, he crashed before. And the Chinese Grand Prix, I think he was like last place. So surprising to see he's up to P5. But is he going to be able to keep that position and stay with his teammate Toddy? Or is he going to fall off like the usual? Not to be disrespectful, but if we're talking race pace, he might drop out, because there are some good drivers just behind him, from Maniac to Scotty and Sotsi. Let's not forget about Sotsi and Vex. I mean, let's not forget about Nat Hammer too. I mean, recently he went from like a long place behind to around ahead to most drivers. So basically, he has the race pace, but not the qualifying pace. So it's going to be a really interesting battle if nothing seems to have happened. But now that all the drivers have the same tires and no one needs to pit anymore, it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers are going to manage their tires.
Yeah, we'll see how well these tires hold up, because I know that especially on this track they can burn up pretty quickly. So it's still a decent. They're still got to take the tires over half race distance. So some work to do. But I'm just having a look at the clouds at the moment. They do look a bit brighter at the start than at the start of the race. Not no sun yet, but this might be me being hopeful more than anything. But there could hopefully some dry weather on the way to spice things up a little bit. But if Bevo can catch up to the safety car here, we might be able to get the start going. But I think it's a little bit too late in the lap now.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I want to be as hopeful as you, Jamin, for a dry race, I don't think there will be a dry race, because I'm looking into the clouds. There are some fog going on, and a little bit of a heavier cloud, if I'm not mistaken. So I won't be surprised if the race ends off in an intermediate kind of condition, but it would be a little bit surprising if suddenly it became like a dry race. So it's still an unknown to us, and it's definitely a big content for us to just keep talking about. So as Bevo has finally catched up, this is definitely going to be the last lap for the safety car. Definitely gonna go in this lap. Well, we'll have to see that when they arrive into sector 3, and especially on a track like Spa and in the intermediates, the launch is going to be a little bit chaotic, because the bus stop, if you aren't aware, is just close to the start finish. So some drivers are going to get really close, and there could be some crashes happening during the back end, especially for people who might be in the pause menu. So we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's always a very chaotic safety car restart at Spa. So, Toddy is going to have to absolutely nail the restart here. The question is, when is the best time to go? I find usually it's pretty good to go early as the leader at Spa. That's where I've seen the most success. Drivers taking off really early, catching their competitors napping. So we'll see what kind of strategy Toddy employs. I'm sure he's already thinking that over in the cockpit at the moment. But when we get this race underway once again, will be exactly a half distance to go. And it's going to be a sprint to the end once again.
Yeah, and of course,
so Toddy, yeah.
It's really unfortunate for P1 and P2. They've gained so much time to get away from P3, and now they have to bunch up back again. So it's going to be a big fight between the top 3 drivers, because we've seen Cash Mash being really fast with the mediums. So as the safety car is going to be in this lap, as expected, it's going to be green flag. No one can overtake until the start-finish line. So we're going to see how Toddy is going to launch up the race restart. We'll see just how much chaotic it is, because we've seen lap 1, of course. It was already chaotic, so I won't be shocked if it's going to be as chaotic as this. So there's going to be a lot of drag. Even if there was no chaotic, there's still going to be chaotic in the Camelback, because everyone's going to have that kind of drag. So we'll see what happens.
Yep. And Toddy, who's looked very comfortable all race long, all of a sudden he's going to have some pressure to deal with, and he's left it very late. He hasn't gone yet. He's waiting right to the last moment, and off he goes, and he got a great launch. And Hendo wasn't ready for that, and all of a sudden under pressure from J Cash Mash behind, and also Logan having a look down the inside of Simo, and a big snap for Zilla at the back there. Was able to catch it though, very nicely saved by Zilla, and all of a sudden Maniac and Ira Logan wheel to wheel. Logan is able to hang on to the position as they go through Eau Rouge and Radion, and most of the cars all getting through safely for now. And there's a little bit of fighting in the midfield here. Very close between Scotty and Hado. Scotty having a go into P8, and he gets that done, does he? Still wheel to wheel.
Oh, God.
And he does.
Yeah,
very nicely done, and towards the back, yeah, a lot of fighting. Sutsi in trouble as well with Verk there, but everyone's through clean at this stage.
Yeah, a really unfortunate move from Haydu. Looked like he locked up a little bit and lost the position to Scotty. A lot of, indeed, there's a lot of battle going on in the midfield, but it's less chaotic as this, as Sam R23 gets a 3-second time penalty. Toddy and Hendo and Cashmash still up close to each other within a second, but it's going to be keen to know what's going to happen. A lot of drivers as Satsi and Botanical Bot go side to side again, as Botanical Bot does a little bit of a contact from Satsi. He slips off a little bit, but still saves the car really close, as they still get really close. But are they going to make a move down at the bus stop? The bus stop is going to be a place where some drivers are going to be a little bit too optimistic, as from before there was going to be 3 wide from lap 1, as I believe that's Haydu and Scotty going side to side. Bevo retires from the race. Something happened. It's a full safety car again, or it's a VSC, I think it is.
Virtual, I believe.
It's virtual. I'm not sure what's happened. Sam looks to be stranded. He's out of the track. Yeah, something did happen to Sam. I think there was contact between the kick and the RB, so really unfortunate for Sam, as he was on the gravel.
Plates both gone there for Sam.
Hold on, let me see if that's the case. Oh yeah, that is. Oh, that's a huge front wing damage. He's gonna need to pit at one point. I think he needs to pit, but he's gonna have a better intermediate tires, so keen to know what's gonna happen to him. But immediately, we didn't even make it through one lap, and it's a VSC. It wasn't even at the bus stop, so yeah, unfortunate race for Sam yet again. But some moves were made, some optimistic, some questionable, but nothing seemed to have been a little bit malicious apart from Bevo and Sam.
Yeah, so Sam, he'll have to be praying for another safety car now as he gets that front wing changed. But the virtual means we will see racing back underway anytime now. And there we go, we've gone green. Hendo had a great response to that VSC and is right up the back of Toddy, closer than he has been since the opening lap of this race. We'll see if he can take advantage of it. As he
look at Satsi and Verks going side to side up to sector 2 at Puon. They're still going side to side. Nothing. They both didn't go off the track.
No!
Oh my god, what has happened? Yet again, another incident has happened with the Ferrari and the RB. Really close. Nothing seemed to have happened. They both saved the car. They're still going side to side. They're still battling for P13. No point gain, but they're still trying. That Hammer gets a 3-second time penalty or 10-second time penalty for gaining a position by corner cutting as the Ferrari driver goes into the gravel. It's really unfortunate. He's now going side to side with Boza. Really unfortunate. That was a really interesting fight, but nothing seemed to have happened to both of the drivers except for that contact.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if you saw, but Sutsy's car went sideways there. I can't believe he was able to keep that on the track. But unfortunately now all the way down in P17 after starting this race in 6th place. So disappointing for Sutsy, but Toddy and Hendo once again
oh god, Boza going off the track after battling with Daniel Starr. I think he got pushed off by Daniel, the Ferrari driver. Yeah, this is not a great weekend for Ferrari if you think about it. P15 and P16, not really a great season for them, but Boza has been pushed off. The stewards are going to need to look at that as there's a battle going on between Botanical Bot and Haydu again. They go contact a little bit. Haydu had to cut off from the track. He's going to have to give back that position. No penalties have been given out, but I think it was definitely a warning for him, so he needs to be more careful this time as he fights more with Botanical Bot, who's now in P9, while his teammate K-Mash is at P3, who's 1.6 away from Hendo and Toddy.
Yeah, Simo also very close to Cashmash, and Cashmash does go off the track there. Does that compromise his run a little bit as Logan and Simo are hunting for that podium spot at the moment? Cashmash was in a very comfortable position pre-safety car, but all of a sudden now he's got some work to do here to hang on to that spot. And Hendo's still doing a good job at hanging on to Toddy, but not enough pressure being put on to challenge for the lead at this stage of the race. But we see as Cashmash and Simo flying down towards the bus stop chicane, and Cashmash still holding off that gap, but Simo really looking to put some pressure on here. And Cashmash pretty good through that bus stop at the moment and just hanging on now. So we've got 8 laps to go in this race. It's now just a sprint race to the end as Botanical Bot and Haydo at the back are having another go. Haydo gets that position back off Botanical Bot there into P9 once again. And things just starting to separate a little bit, but this battle continues for that 9th and 10th positions there between Haydo and Botanical Bot. And it doesn't look like anyone is going to be making any overtakes, but Hendo is getting really close here. He's burnt all his battery, and he's going to have a look down the inside. Is he just about almost the first move for the race lead? All race long there for Hendo, but just stays away at the moment. But that's positive signs for the Mercedes. He's starting to challenge Toddy a bit now.
Yeah, Hendo is really challenging Toddy now. I think Toddy just tried to push a little bit too much during the safety car reset, and now Hendo has a good advantage on the tires. I mean, we've seen more battles on the midfield than on the front, especially P13 and P14. There was a lot of contact happening, especially with Bevo and Sam, and I believe the Ferrari of Satsi and another driver, which I'm not really sure, but is Hendo going to be able to try and keep onto Toddy because he doesn't have the DRS? He only has the ERS, and if they both match up with those, he's not going to be able to catch up at all. And also with Cashmash, who now needs to fight against Simo, who's really close to him now, just around 400 milliseconds, up down to Sector 3. Is Simo going to try and catch up to him and make a move down the bus stop? We're going to have to wait and see as the drivers head on to the bus stop with Hendo. He doesn't have enough position to try, and I think that's also with Simo. He's a little bit far away to not make the move. He doesn't think about anything at all. Still, the drivers are a little bit close to the pack. Everyone's within 1 second, except for some of the drivers, and some are even close as 200. But we still need to wait and see, and as we have 7 laps to go.
Yeah, well, Hendo, this is a lot closer than he's been all race long, and he's had a good run there, so this could be a potential chance here. Hendo absolutely flying. He's got the slipstream, and all of a sudden it looks like there might be an opportunity. He's gaining. Toddy defends the inside, and Hendo just stays behind for now. But this, all of a sudden, the race looks like it's turning towards Hendo a little bit, who maybe did a bit of management behind and is able to gain and pick up a little bit of pace. And Toddy's starting to feel the pressure. Hendo really has a sniff in this one.
Yeah, Hendo was really close to Toddy. He's getting more closer as the laps are going close. Sam retires from the race onto the pit, so I think he just gave up and hoped that nothing was going to happen as Hendo gets a little bit of a power slide on Puhan. That's gonna drop him back a little bit. Really unfortunate for the Mercedes driver, but I think based on his pace, I think he's just gonna catch up with no problem. But that just backtracked his performance a little bit. But he's still just far away from K Cashmash as he's getting close to Simo, while Simo's getting close to Cash, just around 300 milliseconds away. Now Simo is more close enough. He has 100% battery, so he's gonna dump all of that up until sector 3. Is he gonna try and make a move, or will he not? We're gonna have to wait and see. Is he gonna make the move? He's close enough, but is he gonna be that optimistic? No, he doesn't. But the driver behind him, Ira Logan, is also close to him, so a 3-man battle is going to be a little bit interesting to see what's going on. The top 5 drivers are pretty close, except P1 and P2. A little bit looks to be something going on with Maniac and Zilla, but nothing seems to have happened as of now.
Yep, Cashmash able to hold off Simo for now, but this is a long straight, and 7/10 is just about close enough if you've got enough battery to spare, which Simo does. And Ira Logan also is going very fast behind. Is he going to have a look down the inside of the Aston Martin? He has a very good look, but decides against it once again. Bit of strategy going on here. Still 6 laps to go in this race. You want to time your run, and these 3 drivers all fighting hard to be that driver on the podium. So you can understand why there's erring on the side of caution on Logan there. But all of these drivers showing some great pace in the middle stages of this race, and this could be a really interesting finish here, especially for the podium places and for the race win here. Logan did go quite wide there and dropped quite a bit of time, but Simo really putting pressure on Cashmash, really close now, and just waiting for the Haas driver to make an error now.
Yeah, I mean, Simo has a full-on battery, while Cashmash has a reduced harvesting of 65%. So it's going to be interesting to see if Simo's going to make the move down into bus stop. Again, he has a big opportunity. He's getting a good launch. He's getting really close to him now. He's definitely going to be making a move down at the bus stop. Is he going to make a move? No, he doesn't. No, he just gets really close. I mean, these drivers are a little bit of a hungry, a little bit of a luck up from Simo. Ira Logan looks to have something been going on. I mean, you have the P3 all fighting for each other. I mean, if I'm right, Logan and Cashmash are fighting for their first podium, and Simo fighting for yet another podium, which I think is going to be the second P3 in a row. So it's going to be an interesting rivalry, as Toddy also has been getting away from Hendo after Hendo's mistake of a little bit of a power slide down at Puhan 2 laps ago. So, but looks to be that everyone's about to patch away from each other, except for the ones all the way at the back, still very close to each other, as Sutsi gets really close to Hammer. They go side to side down into the end of the Camel Straight. Is there going to be contact involved? This is not the best place to be. Sutsi is unable to make the move even by going side to side. Hammer keeps his position going. Zilla goes side to side with Scotty down into sector 2. And Scotty makes up a move down at Zilla as Zilla gets over the white line. So great battling going on with the Alpine and the Aston, as Ira Logan gets a 3-second time penalty. What has happened to Logan? He got a multiple warning. So really unfortunate for the Williams yet again with another penalty, as Haydu makes a dive bomb of Verks, but wasn't able to complete it, if I'm right. Wasn't really quite aware of what's happening, but a lot of battling going on with some of the pack.
Yeah, Scotty, that's a good move from him, up into P7 now. So continuing his charge up the field. And Cashmash must have some really good straight line speed, the way he's able to fend off Simo here. And he's gaining a lot of time, and particularly through the middle part of the lap on Cashmash. So he's going to need to pick his moment here when Cashmash just overcommits a little bit, and that's going to be his chance to make an overtake. Toddy has really pulled away in the last half a lap or so. He's increased that gap to 1.4 seconds over Hendo. So maybe a bit of an error from Hendo. Maybe Toddy's just decided to lift his game a little bit. And there's 4 laps to go in this one, so still anything can happen. And Simo now has dropped back quite significantly. So we'll have a look at this midfield. Is Zilla going to try and repass Scotty down the Kemmel straight here? And also Verks and Haydo going at it once again. And absolutely flying down this straight is Haydo, burning that battery and putting pressure on Zilla. Is he going to have a look at a move here? Not quite too far back on this occasion. And Zilla hangs on to that P8. And very intense battling for these midfield positions here. And here we go. Is Verks going to have a look at Haydo? Haydo has a slide. Is that going to open the door for Verks? Not quite. Had a look, but just going to stay where he is for now. So once again, a bit of a holding pattern, but I think things are going to start to kick off as we get to these final few laps.
Yeah, we're getting through the final and these stages. I mean, I think if there were 3 more laps to go, there's going to be no more safety car happening. So they're going to be really careful as Satsi gets a 3-second time penalty. People are getting more of a safety. I believe the penalties are getting called in as Verks makes a little bit of a mistake, going a little bit off the grass. It's going to slow him down just a little bit, especially for the wet grass, as Void makes a move down at Botanical Bot. Solid move as he heads down into P11. The McLaren team went from P4, a potential chance of getting lots of points, to all the way down their best of being P11. So really unfortunate weekend yet again for the McLaren drivers, and also for Ira Logan again with a penalty. And look at Botanical Bot hitting the sponsor. He hit the sponsor board from the looks of it. What even happened to Botanical? He has to go into the pits.
Here, by the way.
4 cars are going into the pits for. That's
very late in the race to make a pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, if you weren't aware, yeah, I mean, what is going on? That's really quite surprising.
And no one's going on to drive. Maybe those intermediates are dying. They must be shot, because why would drivers pit from those positions? Logan pitted from 5th, Scotty pitted from 7th. So they must know something that we don't know here, because that seems like a pretty massive.
Oh god! Incident has happened within the Camel Straight. Bozza. Oh god! Bozza hits the rear of Salmons, and they're both on a standstill. Salmons is in the middle of the Camel Straight, probably the worst place to be. What has happened with the drivers? Oh god, I think they were waiting for that. But
yeah, Bozza. He's just stopped on the track. He's been disqualified.
Oh god, he's got beached.
But yeah, what an unusual thing there. Just quickly going back to the Scotty, Haydo, Verks all pitting, unless they all had damage. I'm not sure if I saw any front wings being changed or not.
Yeah, no, I don't think there was any damage indeed. Well, except for Botanical Bot, who was hit the sponsor board. I think he was the only one who did get indeed damage, but we're not really sure still.
Yeah. Unless they thought they could make up all those positions. Logan's already back into P9 after his pit stop, and now Toddy's coming to the pits as well.
What is going on with the drivers?
Leaders coming to the pits with 3 laps left in this race. So Hendo takes the lead. This is highly unusual. But yeah, so Toddy pits out of the lead. And is this going to be the right decision here? He's going to be a full pit stop behind. Wow, I'm really surprised.
Yeah, I mean, we know Toddy. I mean, the last race from China was a really interesting strategy. He was the only one who went with, I believe, the mediums. I mean, he was the only one with a different strategy, and he was able to win on the last lap. So I'm keen to know if his strategy is going to be good yet again. But I mean, it's a really late end stage. I mean, there's only like 3 laps to go. So I mean, everyone's pitting from the looks of it. You can look at everyone's pitting for some reason. This is getting really interesting to see, except for the top 4 drivers of Hendo, Cash, Simo, and Maniac. We're not pitting, and Zilla, let's not forget about Zilla. Vix gets a 3-second time penalty. I mean, I don't know. I mean, everyone's being a little bit unique today. It's just, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I wonder what the those drivers know that we don't at the moment. But yeah, Hendo now has a decent lead. Toddy is in P5 and he's about to take P4 off Maniac here on his run back. He is only about 11 seconds back, so there is only a couple of laps left. So he will gain time, but I'm not sure if he'll gain enough as he tries to sail around the outside of the Red Bull, and that extra grip of the new Inters will get that job done back into P4. But let's see if any of the other top 3 pit here. There's a yellow flag.
Nat Hammer is off the gravel, and Puon, really bad rejoin from him as well. But thankfully nothing has been there as Daniel Stars makes a move down at T Salmons, I believe. But yeah, the good move from Daniel.
Yep, Hendo's into the pits.
Oh, what is happening? Do they need to pit? What is going on? It's really quite interesting to see.
The only thing I can think of is that the tyres must be very close to puncturing.
Oh, that is true. I think because they have been in these inters for so long, because they were there since I believe lap 3 to lap 4. So it's a really bad strategy if they keep on like this.
Still a huge risk to pit this late in the race. Hendo is now down to P6, so Cash Mash now in the lead. Toddy is only 7 seconds back, so maybe this isn't the worst decision. And there's a yellow towards the back.
That's Nat Hammer again.
That was Nat Hammer.
Yeah, something has been happening with the Red Bull driver. Unfortunate race for him.
Yeah.
Cash Mash, Simo are, I think, yes, Cash Mash and Simo are gonna risk their punctures. I think they have to nurse their tires up to the max as Totti's catching up. I believe, I think 2 to 3 seconds because he has a really good tire. We're gonna have to look into the last laps. Well, I'm not really sure if that's going to happen.
This is going to be very, very close here. Very close. Toddy is already brought it back down to 4.9 seconds. And we're just a lap and a half to the finish. This is like Lightning McQueen in the first Cars movie, just trying to crawl to the finish line with the King behind him chasing him down. This is basically what that's like at the moment. You can see Cash Mash and Simo crawling along this track. Toddy's got the fresh inters on, and the gap, it continues to come down. It's 3.6 now. Can they last a whole lap? Toddy might have pulled an absolute masterclass with this strategy here. And this is just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this in a race. And now it's just down to 2.9. And we're just about to start the final lap. Can Cash Mash and Simo defend? They are genuinely crawling across this racetrack. This is going to be a grandstand finish here in Belgium. And Toddy can now see the cars in front of him. He's still got 2 overtakes to make. There's 1 lap remaining. He's got some work to do. He set the fastest lap of the race by almost a second. And now flying down into turn 1. This is going to be very, very interesting. Can Toddy snatch the race win back? He gave it up only 2 laps ago. It's unbelievable to think that he's made up a pit stop gap in this shorter period of time. As they go through Radion now, a Ferrari of Sutzi's having some issues towards the back. It's 1.2 seconds. Cash Mash is hanging on for dear life. He is going to have to give it everything if he wants this race win. An unlikely win at that. He hasn't had to make an overtake all race long, and he could end up on the top step of the podium here, but it's not over yet. Toddy takes a bit of gravel a bit more gravel on both his tyres. There's a second the difference, and this is where he's going to gain the most time through the middle sector. His cornering is going to be that much better than Cash Mash and Simo. You can see how slow they are, but Toddy has 2 cars to deal with and half a lap to get the job done. Can he do it now? As we go through Puon, he's going to be a lot better through here, is Toddy, but is the pressure getting to him now? Simo can still win this race as well. He is very close to Cashmash now. And look, it's 3 cars separated by absolutely nothing as we enter the final quarters of this race. And Cashmash has really slowed up. Toddy trying to go hang around the outside. He can't do it. And now flying down towards the final sector of this track. Cashmash has it by just 2/10 ahead of Simo. Toddy on the new tyres. Can he find a way through? This is going to be the final opportunity as we head into the bus stop chicane for the final time in this race. Is Simo going to make a move? Still 3 drivers can win this race. Simo goes down the inside and he's going to... Oh, everyone's sliding. Toddy gets past Simo and Cashmash with a huge slide on the exit. Cashmash is going to get there in the end for an unlikely victory. The Haas driver, Cashmash, gets the job done. Toddy P2, Simo finishes the podium in a bizarre fashion, it has to be said. Toddy had the lead, made a pit stop, nearly made it work, but Cashmash is the winner.
What a finish, what a finish, what a finish. Toddy got so close to getting that, but Cashmash, who risked a puncture, still won the race. The Haas driver finally made it. Simo, again, with an unfortunate incident yet again in the final lap. It has happened before in China. It has happened again with an incident with Toddy. It's just so unfortunate for Simo with a P3 again, only because he had an incident. But this just gets to show you just how close it was. 22 laps, and Cash only won by 230 milliseconds. And IRL Logan, with I believe is the best finish for him, in P5, and Zilla up in P6. It's just, it was a chaotic race. We were all questioning on what was happening with the pit stops, but I think it was because of the puncture. But Cashmash just said, I don't care about any punctures, I'm still going to win this race. And the Haas driver with an unexpected win. Let's not deny that it was unexpected regardless, because we know who Toddy is. He's always the winner. He always knows how to go fast, and especially with the new tires, we expected him to win. But Cashmash was able to defend his entire life and soul on the track, and he has made it 45 minutes, and it came down to this.
Yeah, that is unbelievable finish. You couldn't ask for much better, really. And I'm pretty sure Cashmash won that race without actually making an overtake on the track. I think. Well, he started in P3, and Hendo and Toddy pitted in front of him, and he just said thank you very much and took the win.
Yeah, I guess if you can compare him to George Russell, I wouldn't see any difference. He just waited it out and just won the race. So it was a really surprising one. And here is your accolades. Cashmash with an unexpected win. Toddy with the expected fastest lap. Heydu with the driver of the day. Most overtakes was made by Logan, and the cleanest driver was Toddy with his great driving. Here are your winners. Cashmash with 30 total points. Toddy taking P2, and Simo with an unfortunate incident happening at the last stop and bus stop. And your top 10 is going to be Hendo, Zilla, IRL Logan, Scotty, Heydu, Satsi, and Verx for your points win, and Maniac and Void getting 1 point respectfully from SR to R. So really surprising win from Cash, Toddy, and Simo.
Wow.
It's just a really surprising win. Yeah, it's just a wow.
I'm trying to get some insight into what happened there. Some drivers reporting 90% tire wear at the end of that race.
Oh my god. That's really a lot. Yeah, I think that's why everyone has pitted at the last one. So we're gonna head on to the podium interviews, and we're gonna interview the drivers who have made it. So of course, we'll see you there. As we wait for the drivers to head on to the interviews, what did you think of that race, Jamin? From unexpecting a wet race to that finish. I mean, again, it was a close finish. China was close, and now this one was close again. So,
Yeah. I'm looking forward to getting some insight into what happened there with the tires at the end, because that was very interesting. So I'm looking forward to hearing each of the podium finishers' perspectives on that. But yeah, that was an insane finish and a race that was you could tell was going to build to something pretty good towards the end, but I didn't expect that to happen at the end. It looked like Toddy and Hendo were just going to wrap it up nice and easy, but I did suspect that post safety car that was going to be a long time to take those intermediate tyres, and it proved to be the case in the end, as it was just maybe a couple laps too many for a few drivers. I don't know, some people maybe were able to manage a little bit better than others, but yeah, still a crazy finish.
yeah, it was a really crazy finish, and all the drivers are here into the interviews now. Of course, we have to start off with Simo, who's gotten P2 again. Simo, unfortunate incident. It happened in China. He is here, and
oh, no, he's
yeah. So very unfortunate incident. It happened in China. It happened in Spa again, losing a position only because something has happened. What are your thoughts about that?
That one was actually the China one was actually worse, and yet that was fair as well. That one I just went up the inside, and the rears didn't really want to brake, and I was sideways on one apex and then sideways on the next apex, and we crossed the line. So it was pretty risky staying out, but I wasn't going to catch up if I pitted, so I had to stay out. It was the only way to go.
Yeah, I mean, trying to battle with Toddy again. I mean, it was an interesting race to see during the final end stages. I believe if you have pitted, or have you pitted? I believe, or I'm not really sure if you've pitted for the new Inters during the end stages of the race, but with Toddy's new tires, I mean, if you've seen him on the leaderboard, so when you came into sector 3, what were your thought process into seeing Toddy going through behind you, getting close to you before the bus stop?
Well, it was 2 laps to go, and he was 6 seconds. Right, that's okay. And there was 1 lap to go, and he was 3 seconds. Like, oh well, that's going to be close. And then I was trying to give Mash a bit of a move along, but I think his tyres were slightly worse than mine. And all of a sudden he was there by sector 2. I'm like, yeah, okay, this could be tough now. But yeah, it was going to be too tough to defend. So I thought if I at least went for the first spot, hopefully Toddy would go behind the wrong person and I could hold a position. But unfortunately, I couldn't hold it.
Any questions you want to answer, Jamin, or do we head on to another driver?
Yeah, I'll ask one. It was a very well-rounded effort, good sprint race as well as feature race. The one question I do have is when that safety car came out, did you think that you were going to struggle to get those inters to the end? So was there any sort of management going on, or were you just like, oh shit, I'm in trouble when it got to the last few laps?
I'd roughly worked out that I was going to hit around the 70-80% mark. I'm like, fuck it. If that means I do a punch, I do a punch. And I think I hit 85. So no, I wasn't too concerned about not making. I just knew I was going to be a lot slower. I probably pushed a bit more on the stint that I wanted to, trying to get the place. But unfortunately, in the wet, it's just really hard to overtake unless the person in front of you does a big mistake. Which, to Mash's credit, he didn't make really any big mistakes on that last stint.
Yeah, well, still a very impressive effort to get yourself to the end there, and you'll take a P3 every day of the week. So, well done on that effort, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, and of course, as we head on
Mike,
to...
I'll hand it back over to you.
Yes, of course. As we head on to Toddy, who's gotten P2, first of all, the interesting strategy of you pitting during the final laps. Now, of course, we know you could have gotten a puncture and the tires were around 80 to 90, but still you weren't able to win as Cash Mash was still able to keep on P1. So, again, with another interesting pit strategy, what were your thought process during those last 2 laps?
Oh, I knew I had to pit. I was on 82% with 5 laps, 2 laps to go. No way I'm getting lucky. I'm going to get a puncture. and I hoped they would pit. Simo and Damash would pit, but they didn't. So, I put my head down, tried to catch up, and I did. But I couldn't get there. I couldn't get the elusive P1, but I got Simo, and he's the one that I needed to get today. So we'll take a P2. I've obviously got to give credit to both of them getting the ties to the end. Obviously, Lady Luck was lurking around this race.
Yeah, they were really lucky. I mean, Cash had around 15 laps of the Inters, and you had 2. And you were able to overtake Simo again because of something that's happened to him. So, again, with Simo's unfortunate luck. But overall, what did you think about the race, with it being the wets and the Inters? I mean, and the Mercedes driver as well, who was behind you all throughout.
It was an interesting one. Hendo definitely kept me on my toes the whole race. I kept looking in the rear and seeing the straight line speed. I'm like, I need to keep burning my battery here. I didn't expect to finish like that. I thought, oh yeah, safety car came out, and now a VSC will be easy to get ties to the end. Obviously, it didn't happen. But no, I'm happy with how today went. Sprint race win, P2. It's a good haul of points.
Yeah, you got a lot of points for today. Jamin, do you have any questions you want to ask to Toddy, or do we head on to Cash Mash or Race Winner?
I think it was pretty well covered. I think, just a very well controlled sprint race, and I think you had that whole race under control pretty much. I think if there wasn't a bit of last lap drama there, you probably would have had that one wrapped up pretty nicely, but still very well done, particularly qualifying as well. So very good weekend from yourself.
Cheers, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and of course, let's head down to our race winner, Cash Mash, the unexpected race winner. Let's head on to you. First of all, race winner, first Haas winner for this league. Any thoughts about that?
I'm so happy. I can't believe I won that. So stoked. Definitely was not the fastest driver this evening. Some would call it a Alma Jacko win. But I can't believe it. I'm just really happy.
Yeah, and of course, Toddy was right behind you as well with the new Inters. Were you nervous about him potentially overtaking you, or were you just happy enough that you were able to make it to the finish line throughout those final 2 laps?
I was sweating. The last lap, and I know Sumo was trying to push me, but my tires were cooked, and I was lucky that Sumo was there to slow Toddy down, or else he would have had me. But yeah, and Hendo as well. Bad luck to him tonight as well. Him and Toddy were 5 seconds in the lead for most of the race. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, people have been appreciating you and calling you the tire whisperer. So I believe you've saved up a lot of tires. Can you walk us through how much of a tire percentage that was? Because it's obviously a lot.
Yeah, I was on 93%, so definitely luck. But I do pride myself on a more conservative driving style and have done these sort of drives before. But so I'd say it's a combination. So not just luck, hey Toddy.
Yeah, luck and driving. That was a really great race win. Jamin, do you have any questions for our race winner, or do we end it off for today?
Yeah, well, even though there might have been a little bit of luck involved, I think still a very well-driven race there. You had you kind of had a bit of a lonely race there to start, just sitting in third place. Your pace was clearly very strong, so the fact that you were able to hang on, maybe play a bit of a risky strategy was, I think that's fair enough in the end. So I think you've done pretty well there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I knew once they were just kicked off down the road, I was just focused on preserving and not pushing too hard for the whole race, and then was just hoping for something to happen, and it did. But yeah, thanks
absolutely.
guys.
Yes. So I think that's all the questions for today. Of course, congratulations to all 3 of you for getting the podium, and of course, Cash Mash for the win. Celebrate it while you can. And of course, this is Mikey the Boy and Jamin with you. Thank you so much for watching the Tier 2 version of the AUSF1 race.